Here we are today, mate. 10 years later.
That's it. We met at Macquarie Uni, actually. We didn't realise till afterwards our dads actually knew each other, but I believe we met third year e-commerce in Mac University.
We actually played soccer as kids. I didn't even realise we knew each other when we were much, much younger, playing at your dad's Persian rug store. My dad was an electrician fixing the lights there, right?
Yeah, at Gordon Shopping Centre.
Yes.
I actually remember reconnecting with Andrew at uni, and he was wearing a T-back singlet, and that was the peak of his bodybuilding. So I was like, oh, who's this guy wearing a T-back singlet to a lecture at uni?
But you didn't think you were going to start a business with me, did you? I think you came to me and we're sitting in a lecture and you're like, hey man, did you know we can buy protein powder for like $100 for like 50 kilos? I'm like, I didn't know. But here we are. That was like
when we first realised, oh yeah, we both like business.
We both like business and stuff, right? I think you thought maybe me wearing a gym singlet, I'd be into protein powder. I was.
I did see that, yes.
But I didn't need 100 kilos of it.
It's true.
I went into business with a few other people before I went into business with Mez. All of them failed. And I thought, okay, why don't I have a conversation with the guy that we always used to speak, about business, and he works in North Sydney.
I was like, oh, this guy's like really driven. He was like, he'd work with things at a lot of pace. And I think that was something, in uni, I had like other entrepreneurial friends, and a lot of them would get stuck in this like just talking about ideas stage. Whereas with Andrew, it's like execute, execute, execute so quickly. I was like, oh, I like this.
We started only servicing SEO clients. And I had worked at a prior few companies before starting OMG, and it was just trash. What people were doing was trash. They'll take advantage of small businesses. They weren't doing any work. They're taking advantage of them. They were doing silly things like guarantees. It didn't make any sense, and they locked people into contracts for super, super, super long times because of the guarantees. And it's like, yeah, sure, SEO does take time, but do it properly. So what we did is we were the first company that I knew that were 100% transparent about all the work that we were doing. I think that was the very first client.
I think it was the first.
Yeah, we had Aussie Supplements. We had a few clients before In1. I think In1 was the first proper. In1 Projects we had as a client for like 7 years. It's like 7, 8 years, crazy.
Yeah, it was actually our first little foray into creative thinking, because I remember we had this site and we outsourced the work initially, and it just wasn't catching, and the client really put a lot of faith in us. And at that time, he was paying $900 a month, and we're like, oh my God, this is the biggest project we've ever signed. And it got to like 6 months and it just wasn't catching. So we kind of both sat there and we did our own gap analysis, which has now been part of our process for 10 years, successfully. And we looked at their website, looked at the competitors, we did a bit of gap analysis to see where the gaps were, and we fixed it. And it was like within a month, it was ranking at the top of Google for office fit outs Sydney. And it was like, creative thinking, even though we were relatively, or at least in my end, new to search, to, solve a problem. And clients stayed on for 7+ years. And
then there was this one client I'll never forget when Mez won it because he did a silly dance. It was, do you know what I'm talking about?
You talking about Eltron?
No, talking about Ross.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Rockdale Office Furniture.
Yeah. Furnishing.
Rockdale Office Furnishers, yeah.
I guess objectives that we would like to push really hard over the next sort of 5 to 10 years, and something we're really focusing on this year actually, is that international expansion piece, because we haven't met anyone and we haven't come across many companies that are really doing it as well as we are. So yeah, looking forward to expanding that.